we need to look at ways of not just seeing the Paralympics as a catalyst for making changes for access, but also trying to look beyond all times of the Olympic cycle, that access and the experience of the disabled people need to be highlighted at all times as well. So that there is, it's a great platform, but I think there is an argument to say that that these conversations need to keep happening beyond Paralympics as well.
Well, yes, they really do, Katie. And I think Baroness Tanni Grey-Thompson, she also said that obviously London 2012 was wonderful. She said the best Paralympics ever, really, in her mind. And she said we were having those discussions then about getting better disability access and accessibility. And she said 14 years later, we're still having those conversations. So despite the success all the way back in London 2012, these conversations are still happening. And with her experience, just on Monday night, she's stuck on this train. She'd booked assistance to get her off. No one arrived. And she was there for something like 15 minutes or so, couldn't get off. And of course, there's a huge gap between the platform and the train. Eventually, the cleaners had to try and help her get off. It's not good enough, is it, Katie?
No, it's not, and I think I really empathised with her when I heard that story. I personally, I've had that experience or similar experiences before, but it's also I've been in situations where perhaps there's been a miscommunication, having pre-booked and ended up a couple of stops beyond where I was due to be. So there have been some negative experiences, but I think it's also really key and important to say that I know of lots of train companies and staff who are really committed to making changes, and I know of train companies who have really actively aimed to get people with lived experience of disability on transport panels. So I think, again, there's a long way to go, but I think there are points to take that are of encouragement from this as well.
Yes,
but
yes.
I think,
It's typical the media, actually. We only really ever talk about the bad stuff that happens, don't we? We should focus on the good stuff as well. But how do charities such as yours, Through the Roof, help break down these barriers that people with disabilities face?
I think so. From our point of view, we're about sort of equipping the church to welcome disabled people and to enable and empower disabled people ourselves to be missionaries and to share God's love, and we want to particularly equip church communities to do that. So we do that through training, through disability awareness workshops, and to connect people with a similar heart to share experiences and practical resources to do that. We have an access audit that helps to churches to go through those kind of practical access needs. And we also have Disability Awareness Sunday, raising the profile of experiences of disabled people and disabled Christians.
Let's move on now to this report that shows 320,000 children with special needs and disabilities aren't getting enough exercise. So what do you think about this, and how can we address these inequalities in physical education?
My experience was going through school as a wheelchair user was actually really positive. I had very good support from one-to-one support in school, but I know that isn't the case for a lot of young people that we encounter. Richard Whitehead, who is an amputee, and talking about how having the right prosthesis available on the NHS has a massive impact on whether people with his experience are able to access sport as well. So I think there is a systemic issue as well around access to NHS services, access to the right educational support within schools and within community activities, and all of that then contributes to someone's ability to be able to participate in sport.
Can we, as the Christian community, help play a role in advocating for people with disabilities?
Absolutely, definitely. I think from Through the Roof's point of view, we love to amplify people's stories. We have former Paralympians who are involved with us. We have people that are sharing their stories. So any opportunity for that you can give for your church community to listen to people with disabilities, people who have got access needs, to understand what it is that would help them in your particular situation, is a really good place to start.